Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Defiance, a third-person MMO from Tryon for the PC, PS3, and Xbox 360. With me are Impressions. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
And Synyster Dreamer. How you doing today?
Not bad.
Awesome. So we're gonna just get straight into Defiance here. Like usual, start off with the story. So the story of Defiance is basically a group of aliens have come to Earth thinking it was uninhabited. Turns out, we were here. This starts a whole war, and then we pretty much get to the point of the apocalypse, and then other aliens show up, and we join forces with the other group, but we have kind of this, loose, we don't like you kind of thing going with them, kind of racism thing. And that's all I got. Other than there's also these like alien spaceships called arcs that are crashing into Earth because of this one explosion or something. I forget.
Yeah, until the TV show catches up, I had no interest.
Yes, and that's the other thing is this is connected to a television show on Sci-Fi that just started. Uh, this story in the TV show, certain elements of it will be carried into the game as
Basic,
well.
basically whatever major development that either good or bad will affect the game. So if something good happens in the TV show, basically it'll happen in the game to help the players. If something bad happens, it downfalls from there.
Right.
Assuming the game and other series last that long.
Right. This whole thing's kind of an experiment between a game and a TV show, kind of crossbreed. I'll get into that in a little bit, how that might work in the long run. Probably have to discuss gameplay. But on the whole, the story in the game is not that well done. And unfortunately, I missed the first episode of the TV show because I don't have cable. So I can't say, how that works. So, I don't know. We'll, I think...
Have to see how things go.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting thing because if the TV show does really well, the game may, do kind of well. But if the TV show does horrible, it should be interesting to see if the game is able to continue or if they just have to, shut down servers because nobody cares anymore.
Yep.
Impressions, any thoughts?
I appreciate the adventure as far as the experiment that's kind of trying out. We'll have to wait and see.
All right.
Really not much to say this time. Not because it's bad, there's really nothing going on.
Yeah, that's why it's really hard to get into the story and stuff. So we're going to get next into the gameplay. So on the starting of the game, you create a character. You can choose between the humans and the Votans, which is the alien race that we're at war for a while and have kind of a steady peace out with right now. Character customization was kind of meh. They did have a lot of things you could do, but they were all kind of bad looking, in my opinion.
Well, it was basically the basic of a character generator. You can be like, well, I want to modify the face and whatnot, but it didn't work, in my opinion, because it's like I've dealt with character creators and stuff that made a character look better. It was just like bare minimum. It was like, yeah, you can modify jaws and eyes and everything, but it just didn't improve.
Yeah, it wasn't so much customization, it was just 5 different presets.
Yeah. All right, so the next major element is, obviously this is a third-person shooter. It reminds me a little bit of kind of Mass Effect to some extent. I thought, it was different. It's not your standard, third-person, ability. It's an actual, shooter. And I do give it props for that. I did think that was kind of fun to be able to do that.
When I first got into the game and started playing around with it, the first thing I thought of, it was just a third-person version of Borderlands. Because literally,
That's a good way to put it.
You had your gun, your sidearm, and, abilities. Which, well, let's see, Borderlands had guns, sidearms, and abilities, and then you just unlock things as you go, and you can customize your character to fit your kind of game style you want. So it's like, well, that's just Borderlands with, Tryon's little thing of, let's add Rift into this by, random spawn points of monsters. So it's like, okay, this is interesting, but just didn't. It for me, it just didn't feel right.
Impressions?
Let's qualify that statement from earlier. It's Borderlands in third person, not as good, obviously. It just wasn't as well developed.
Yeah. Okay.
But just to build on what Synyster said.
Yeah. So there's a couple different guns in it. Each one kind of has its own little use. Honestly, I didn't really like how the different guns worked because I didn't really notice a huge difference in gameplay. Other than obviously sniper, you have a scope. Shotgun's better at close range. Assault rifle fire is faster. I thought they could have done a little bit more with it. Other than mods, you can add mods to your gun that increase different things, but I still thought kind of the guns were kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, it was a good attempt, but at the same time, it felt like it was poorly played.
Impressions?
The guns were pretty much the only big difference between the sniper rifle. It's the attack from close or from far.
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of just. I mean, obviously, it's different modes of fire, but it goes to say, that says a lot about it, considering that they tried to play with one another.
Yeah. Like I said, we didn't get deep games, so the guns might get better, but early game is the hook, and that's more or less what we're trying to get into. Late game might be great, but early game.
It's just kind of hard considering, trying to promise the game will be better later.
Yeah.
When it really isn't that much, not much right now.
Yeah. Okay, so next thing I want to go into is the questing system. There are multiple types of quests. There is a story quest, which deals with characters in the TV show and actually progresses the plot of the game. There's little races you can do. There's standard side quests and rampage quests, and a couple. I forget there's another one, but there's a rampage quest. Give you kind of a mission to do, and it gives you a gun. You just have to kind of kill as fast as you can or something. On the whole, other than story quests, which I thought were fine, I thought the questing system in general was terrible.
Yeah, there really wasn't any. The story quest was, set. You go to said person, talk to them, get your quest. Otherwise, everything else was like, well, if you're randomly going by, well, there's a quest over to your left you can go pick up, or hey, look, there's a race over to your right, or hey, there's a challenge over there. So you're not giving me a bit kind of like a quest hub. You're just quests are all over the place. Go find them.
Impressions?
I guess the best way to simplify that sentiment is that it was just a little overwhelming. If you want to just play to the objective playlist, they identify which one you can go to. But it's kind of hard, especially when you have a bit of a completionist attitude towards certain games. And you walk into this one, and suddenly there's already 10 objectives that you have the option to do, and that's on top of your main objective.
Yeah. So next thing I want to go into is I kind of skipped this one. Is abilities. There are special abilities that you can put you can unlock, and then perks that go with those abilities. You unlock like a little square thing around them with different perks that you can pick as you level up. Leveling up, you don't really have a level. Instead, you have a ego level, I think is what it's called. And that just tells you how strong you are. It doesn't really. That's all it really.
It tells you how big your ego is.
Yeah, that's pretty much all it does. And it also, just allows players to know, how far progressed and how many abilities and stuff you have unlocked.
Out of curiosity, which abilities do those?
I tested out all of them. I found stealth to be super overpowered, but I ended up sticking with overpower, which just increases my damage gun because I ended up sticking with assault rifle, so that helped a little bit more with that.
I played with decoy. I found it just fun, just being like, okay, throw an image that way, let everyone focus on him, and I'll just pick everybody else off. I did try blur for a little bit, but I found decoy was my favorite.
I use blur. I can't imagine this game without blur. I think it was by far my favorite. The rest of them are kind of, you can compensate for the other two. Well, except I just like running away really fast, or running up really close to the enemy.
And that's the one thing that, like I said, abilities I think is the one thing the game does really well. As you heard, we all have pretty much different abilities that we chose from, so obviously, it allows for various different gameplay styles. which is always a plus.
Yes.
So now we're gonna get into that later. So the next thing, this is get into map. So the map is very big. In order to get around the map, you're pretty much giving an ATV right from the get-go to get around.
Well, not from the get-go.
Pretty much.
You have
get
to
the
unlock
first
it.
Yeah, it's like the first area.
Yeah.
After the tutorial areas, is you go talk to the first guy. Here's a car. Get around the map, which is good because if you didn't have this game, it would be a pain in the rear.
Yeah.
Driving mechanics I thought were fine. I was very grateful to have the car to get around. I do like the size of the map. It's very open world. You guys?
The ATV was nice to have, because one, the open world, and two, because the map was so big. I thought the controls were a little sensitive, but that's because I tend to use a more sluggish control, and when I tap and the vehicle's deciding to turn sideways already, and it's like, okay, this will be fun.
Impressions?
I think it was fine. By no means is this really the reason we're playing the game. It really is just a means to get around. We try to make it a little, we try to make it a little quicker, obviously, via that. You can always fast travel, but since they gave you such a huge map to explore, a car or some form of vehicle, they accomplished it. And just one other thing as far as vehicles go, they are not for running over enemies. It does not work.
No, later on, if you get it, there's certain ones that you can run over enemies.
Okay, well then I don't ever.
Alright, so last thing I want to go into are the other big thing in this game, which are arc falls. Arc falls are random events that happen. If you go to your map, you'll see a big red thing on the map. There's two kinds. There's small ones and big ones. Small ones are just the little icons on the map. Big ones are this big red circle with multiple ones in there. Small ones, you can usually do on your own or with like one or two. Big ones, you need a whole bunch of people. This is very similar to how Rift works in terms of their Rift system. I've found the small ones are kind of but I enjoyed the big ones. I did a couple of the big arc falls. I found those very enjoyable. Impressions?
Well, let me preface this also. By far, the most impressive thing this game does is the fact that it handles such a huge capacity of players. Because when I do those arc falls, there's at least 20 to 30 people with me, and that's actually what made it real. That's probably like the best thing I'll give back.
Synyster?
So,
Yeah,
just that it was fun that having that many people. It felt like it's like a good sense of camaraderie and a lot of. I guess I've never played World of Warcraft, but I have a feeling that's what raids are like. That to
some extent, yeah.
Yeah,
big group.
Yeah, the arc falls were, they were probably at least the good thing that came out of this was because they could integrate a massive amount of people at one location, and it worked fluidly without any real problem, and you could get people to work together and get an objective done. So it's like it wasn't too bad. It was actually kind of fun when the arc falls would happen.
Yeah. All right, is there anything I missed? You guys want to talk about?
No.
All right, so
no, the AI.
Oh,
sorry.
AI.
The AI that is like ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, the AI has no brains. I think, impressions, your idea on the AI.
talking about the ego thing.
No. I'm talking about how enemies worked, like how smart they were.
Sorry. Yeah, what AI?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay, I think that's it then. I can't think of anything else. So with that, we'll get into our scoring. So here at Really 3, we do not use a number system. Instead, we do a buy, rent, pass. A buy means, you should buy this game. It's totally worth whatever price they have at release. It's just that fun and enjoyable and has that much stuff to do, or is, worth that. Rent means, we thought the game was okay. Not quite worth full price, so, wait for it to go on sale or pick it up used or something. Or rent it from Gamefly or Blockbuster if you have one, or Redbox. Pass means, I don't know, throw it in the trash and hope to God nobody ever finds it. I'll go first. I actually give Defiance a rent. I did enjoy it. I can see, like I said, arc falls were really great. I can see some of the group content being, fun with the style. Definitely, this game is probably I played solo, but I can see this game being a lot more enjoyable with more people for some of these events. So and if the show does well, the game might pick up as well. So I give it a rent. Synyster.
I also give it a rank because I'm going to give it a little bit of the doubt because it does have some good potential. It's just I think they just released it a little too ahead of the show, so the show is really was what's going to have to carry it to make it really any good.
Yeah. Impressions?
I think we're all on the same boat. I do also give it a rent. Hold off on actually buying it until the story progresses, and then you can make your judgment. But I do want to see what happens, especially with the series that's going on that complements it, and there is a lot of room for improvement, and maybe that's kind of why it's a little buggy as it is. But I want to see what happens. So I'm reserving my judgment just yet.
Yeah. So I said, I think my biggest issue was just questing. Otherwise, it may have gone higher. But anyway, so there you go. You have 3 rents from all 3 of us. So that's it for Defiance. Thanks for listening. Make sure to leave a comment for entries into our giveaway, whatever this one goes to. Probably our whatever is after our Metro one. Make sure to subscribe up top to make sure you get the latest in our videos and keep up to date. Check out our website, ruleof3.com, for the written reviews as well as some gaming news and announcements when they pop up and we decide that they're post-worthy. Make sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter and keep watching our stuff. Tell your friends. The bigger our community, the more stuff we can do, and obviously the better quality of everything gets. So thanks for listening. Thanks guys for joining me, and always remember to trust in the rule of 3.